Here's your host, Brian Fisher.
Hi, welcome back. Focal Point AFR Talk. Good to have you with us. Let's grab clip number 10, Rob, to start this second hour. My name is Brian Fisher. The program is Focal Point. The network is AFR Talk. This is Scott Brown, and he's talking about this mantra that you hear from moderate to liberal Republicans that the GOP is or has a big tent. Let's listen.
Someone who's a pro-choice moderate Republican is here as part of the big tent that we have and should have and will continue to have with my involvement here. And while I don't agree with everything in the platform and or with Governor Romney, I have a lot of respect for him and vice versa.
So the question here, Scott Brown's out there saying, hey, I am a pro-choice moderate. I don't support the plank of the Republican Party platform that protects the sanctity of life. I'm pro-choice. I'm pro-abortion. I believe that babies, we ought to protect the practice of dismembering babies in the wombs of their mother. I'm down with that. I want to protect that. I'm pro-abortion. I'm pro-death. I'm not pro-life. I'm pro-death. And I'm a moderate. I'm not a conservative. In fact, he probably has difficulty subscribing to most of the Republican Party platform, but he says, hey, that's fine because the Republican Party is a big tent. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think Todd Akin, do you think Todd Akin thinks that the Republican Party is a big tent? Is he feeling the love today? Is he feeling how inclusive and how expansive the Republican Party is and how much room they have in their tent for people of all political persuasions? That big tent stuff is just hooey. It's just hogwash. It's just moderate Republicans trying to give people an excuse for not being conservatives. And we just got a big tent. So they're making this inclusiveness of people who are actively working to subvert the platform to undercut the very things the Republican Party stands for. They're turning that into a virtue. You can ask Todd Akin about how big the Republican Party tent is right about now. Let's see. I want to play a couple of sound bites from the Marco Rubio speech. Let's go back to clip number 2. Marco Rubio, knockout speech last night. In fact, I just had 2 sound bites from the Romney speech, but I had 4 from the Rubio speech because I thought it was absolutely terrific. One of the things that's interesting to look at, contrasting the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, number 1 is how diverse the Republican Party platform speakers were. The Democrat Party platform, the people that appear on the platform next week are mostly going to be white. They're mostly going to be old white guys. And the people that are talking about how racist the GOP is, they're old, angry white guys. Where are the angry white males? They're on the liberal side of the equation. It's Chris Matthews. Every other word is a racist word in his judgment when it's on the lips of a conservative. You got Ed Schultz blowing up like a pufferfish, getting after the Republican Party for being racist. They're white guys. You look at the masthead of MSNBC. It's amazing. It's like 13 white faces on the top of MSNBC. And they're the people that say, look, pure statistical analysis proves that you're a racist. If you don't have X number of blacks, if you don't meet your quota of blacks, then you're a racist. Well, MSNBC, by their definition, is the most racist media outlet in the country. Anyway, here is Marco Rubio talking about the plan and the agenda of Barack Obama. Let's listen.
Our problem is not that he's a bad person. Our problem is that he's a bad president. You think he's watching tonight? Because his new slogan for his campaign is the word forward. Forward. A government that spends $1 trillion more than it takes in? An $800 billion stimulus that created more debt than jobs? A government intervention into health care paid for with higher taxes and cuts to Medicare? Scores of new rules and regulations. These ideas don't move us forward. These ideas move us backwards.
And let's play clip number 3 before we go to the phones. Clip number 3, this is Marco Rubio talking about the fact that what Obama is trying are worn-out ideas. There's nothing novel about it. There's nothing cutting edge about it. These are old, recycled ideas that have never worked anywhere they have been tried. Let's listen.
These are tired and old big government ideas that have failed every time and everywhere they've been tried. These are ideas that people come to America to get away from. These are ideas that threaten to make America more like the rest of the world instead of helping the rest of the world become more like America. As for his old slogan, under Barack Obama, the only change is that hope is hard to find. Now, sadly, millions of Americans are insecure about their future. But instead of inspiring us by reminding us of what makes us special, he divides us against each other. He tells Americans that they're worse off because others are better off, that rich people got rich by making other people poor. Hope and change has become divide and conquer.
That's a pretty insightful observation. Hope and change has become divide and conquer. Well, let's grab a couple of phone calls. Let's go to Harold, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The city of my birth, by the way, Harold. Anyway, welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. What's on your mind?
Hey, Brian, thanks for taking my call.
You bet.
Yeah, I remember you're a native Oklahoman, and I congratulate you.
Well, you're welcome. It's a proud part of my heritage.
We're the best kept secret in the nation. So, no, we always want people to come as long as they're mindful and respectful.
As long as they behave themselves.
Yes, as long as they behave themselves. I just wanted to make a quick comment on Governor Romney's speech. He was not my first pick, but as far as I've been concerned the last few months, he's the only pick because there's no way I would support the current administration. So I'm in his corner, and he's got my vote for a lot of different reasons. I actually surprised he did a lot better than what I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, and let me interject here, Harold. I thought there was some real passion at the end of that speech. I mean, that's one of the few times I really felt like Mitt Romney was kind of talking from someplace other than off of a script or out of his head. That seemed to be coming from a deeper place in him.
Well, I did too. Like I said, I was surprised personally by some of the things he said because I've been quite honestly worried about some of the decisions he made, as governor of Massachusetts. So that being said, what I would like to comment on, and I'll make this comment and then I'll get off here. What I would like, and I just kind of want to say this and then get your opinion, what I'm kind of concerned about is we're not very far away from November. It's going to be here before we know it. So now the convention is over and the Democrats have theirs next week. Then I guess there's going to be some debating. One of the things that I am kind of hoping to see as the days roll by, especially if they, can get to debate each other, is for them to really, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but for those voters that are sitting on the fence, maybe people that voted for President Obama last time, but this time they're like, well, you know what I'm saying? They're sitting on the fence. They could go either way. And I think that Governor Romney needs to make the points of President Obama's failed economic policy.
All right, Harold, listen, I appreciate that. I'm up against a hard break. I got to let you go. But Harold's saying, look, Mitt Romney's got to hit Obama harder on his failed economic policies for those undecided voters. Back in 2.